So you're ready to kind of, take your sculpting skills out of the studio and into the, the big leagues. Landing that dream job, well, that means acing the interview.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what we're diving into today.
That's right.
We've got RoleCatcher's career guides, and they're just amazing AI to help us prep.
Yeah.
So you can just walk into that interview feeling like a total master sculptor.
It's not just about the artistic talent, though, is it?
No.
Interviewers, they really want to see that you get the, the demands of the role, the business side of being an artist, and how you would fit into their world. It's almost like you're sculpting your professional persona alongside your artwork.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump right into RoleCatcher's Sculptor Career Guide.
Okay.
One thing that really stands out to me is just the variety in this field. Sculptors work with, everything from traditional materials like stone and bronze to more modern materials like resins and even recycled plastics.
It really shows how much sculpture is evolving. And all this diversity, it often comes up in interview questions.
Okay.
You want to be ready to talk about your experience with different mediums, the technical challenges that you faced, and how you push those creative boundaries.
Absolutely. All right, speaking of questions, RoleCatcher has this huge library of sample interview questions.
Yeah.
And they're specifically for sculptors.
Right.
Should we tackle a few of the common ones?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Let's start with a classic. What inspired you to pursue a career as a sculptor? It seems simple enough, but it's a real chance to make a first impression. A good one.
I can see how this one would trip people up. It's tempting to just, give a generic answer like, oh, I've always loved art. But what are interviewers really looking for here?
They want to see the spark, the passion that drives you.
Okay.
So think back to what lit that fire for you? Was it a childhood memory, a specific artist who inspired you, or a moment when you really felt the power of sculpting? Share a personal anecdote. Tell a story that reveals your authentic self and shows why you are drawn to this art form.
So it's about storytelling.
Yeah.
And I imagine that RoleCatcher's AI can help you craft a compelling narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher, it analyzes job postings to figure out, the key skills and values that the employer is looking for.
Right.
So you can tailor your answer so it really resonates with what they need.
Okay.
It's like having a personalized script writer for your interview.
That's amazing. Okay, let's go to another common question. How do you approach a new sculpture project? This one seems a bit more technical.
Okay.
It's less about feelings and more about process.
It is about process, but it's also about showing off your organization, your creativity, and how you can adapt.
Yep.
So walk the interviewer through your usual workflow. Do you start with sketches?
Yeah.
Miniature models?
What if their process is different from what's usually done? Should they try to fit into a mold, so to speak?
Be authentic. Be true to your own methods, but also highlight your flexibility. Explain how you research, conceptualize, and execute a project, but emphasize your problem-solving skills, and how willing you are to adapt to challenges that come up unexpectedly.
It's like you're sculpting your answer as carefully as you would a piece of art. I bet RoleCatcher can give you feedback on how to really structure your answer well.
You bet it can.
Yeah?
You put your answer in, and the AI will analyze it, and it'll suggest ways to make it stronger, more concise, and more tailored to what the job needs.
Okay, now here's a question that might make some people sweat.
Yeah.
Can you describe a sculpture project that was particularly challenging for you? I feel like this is where a lot of people could stumble by, focusing on their mistakes.
It's not about dwelling on failures. It's about highlighting your resilience, your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Pick a project where you had to overcome a big obstacle. It could be a technical problem, writer's block, or even just a really demanding client.
So it's not about admitting defeat. It's about showing that you can rise to the occasion.
Exactly. Detail the problem.
Yeah.
But really focus on the solution. How did you overcome that hurdle?
Okay.
What did you learn? It shows interviewers that you're not afraid of challenges and that you can find creative solutions.
It's like even when the chisel slips, you know how to reshape the outcome.
Right.
And this is where having specific examples is so important.
Right? Absolutely. Vague answers, they just won't cut it.
Right.
So have a solid project that you can talk about with details you can easily remember. And again, RoleCatcher, it can help you prepare by suggesting follow-up questions that you might get.
All right, so you're not caught off guard.
Yeah.
Okay, on to a question that lets you kind of geek out a little bit. Can you describe your preferred medium for sculpting and why you enjoy working with it?
Okay.
This feels like a chance to really Let your passion shine through?
It is. So don't just name the medium. Explain what draws you to it. Is it the feel of clay, the permanence of stone, the fluidity of molten glass? Maybe it's the history of the material or how sustainable it is? Connect it to your artistic style,
Yeah.
maybe even your philosophy. It shows depth and real passion.
It's like explaining why you fell in love with that material, what makes it special to you.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to get specific.
Yeah.
If you love bronze, talk about the patina, the weight, how it works for certain forms. If you love wood, describe the grain, the smell, how it feels in your hands. Let your enthusiasm show.
I'm getting inspired just thinking about it.
Yeah.
What if someone is still, experimenting with different mediums?
Right.
Is it okay to talk about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It shows that you're a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
Always looking for new ways to express yourself. You can talk about the mediums that you're interested in and why,
Right.
and how you're working to improve your skills.
So even uncertainty can be a good thing as long as you show that you're actively learning.
Exactly. Now, let's tackle a question that seems kind of out of left field.
Okay.
How do you approach collaborating with other artists or professionals on a sculpture project?
Why would they ask that in a sculpting interview?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
It shows how collaborative many sculpting projects are, especially big installations or public art pieces.
Yeah.
Sculptors often work with architects, engineers, fabricators, even other artists.
Yeah.
This question is all about showing off your communication skills, your teamwork skills, and how you handle different creative visions.
So it's not just about being a lone wolf in the studio.
Right?
It's about being a team player.
Yeah. Be prepared to share examples of successful collaborations.
Okay.
Highlight your communication style, how you give and receive feedback, and your skill at managing different personalities and viewpoints.
I imagine RoleCatcher can help you find those specific examples from your past.
It can. The AI can go through your CV
Right.
and find times when you've shown teamwork leadership or communication skills. It's like having a research assistant, going through your work history to find the perfect example.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It takes all the pressure off trying to remember everything.
Right.
Now, this next question I think a lot of artists struggle with. How do you balance the creative and commercial aspects of being a sculptor? This one feels like it's getting at that age-old struggle between art and commerce.
It is a balancing act.
Yeah.
This question's figuring out how professional you are.
Okay.
You're understanding that art is both a passion and a business.
I feel like some artists might not want to talk about the business side because they see it as selling out. What's the best way to answer this one?
Be honest and self-aware.
Okay.
Be genuine about how you do things. Do you actively look for commissions?
Yeah.
Do you go to art fairs or galleries? Do you market your work online?
Okay.
Highlight your entrepreneurial spirit and how willing you are to handle the business side of your art.
So it's about showing that you're not just an artist, you're an entrepreneur too.
Exactly. And it's fine to acknowledge the tension between creative freedom and making money.
Right.
It's about finding that balance, staying true to yourself, while also knowing what the market wants,
Right.
what your clients need.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can look at the job posting
Yeah.
and see if the employer is more focused on creativity or business.
Right.
And then you can tailor your answer.
Exactly. It can also scan your CV to find relevant things like managing commissions, taking part in art fairs, or even running your own online shop.
Right.
Those details can make your answer stronger and show, business.
Okay, one last question before I move on to the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to an aspiring sculptor? Why would an interviewer ask this?
They're trying to see your perspective, your generosity, and how willing you are to mentor others.
Okay.
It also shows how you see the challenges and rewards of being a sculptor.
So it's not about giving a generic pep talk. It's about sharing your wisdom from your own experience.
Exactly. Think back to when you were starting out. What advice would you give yourself back then? What problems did you face? What lessons did you learn? Be honest, encouraging, and realistic.
So it's like passing the torch to the next generation of sculptors.
It is. And it shows you care about the future of sculpture
Yeah.
and that other people succeed.
Wow, we've covered so much already, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what RoleCatcher offers. I'm really interested to hear more about how their platform can help us, in the art world, not just with interview prep.
There's a lot more to explore, from their big employer database to their career guides for all kinds of art jobs.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll get into those resources and find even more ways to build your dream career. Yeah, it's easy to get, caught up in like prepping for specific questions, but RoleCatcher's so much more than just interview prep.
Right.
It's like having a whole team of art world people, in your corner guiding you.
I am so ready to hear about this.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Okay, so imagine having access to like this database of over 9 million employers.
Why?
Galleries, museums, private collectors, architectural firms, public art programs. It's all there.
Wow.
You can research companies, see who's hiring, and even like connect with people in your field.
That's incredible for networking.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just send applications out there.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other thing to actually connect with the people behind the postings.
Exactly. And it's not even just about finding jobs. It's about, understanding the whole industry, like which galleries are showing contemporary sculpture, which firms are doing those big installations.
Right.
RoleCatcher gives you that info so you can be smart about where you apply.
Okay.
And make good choices about your career.
It's like having a backstage pass to the whole art world.
Exactly.
Speaking of career paths, RoleCatcher also has like over 3,000 career guides.
Wow.
For all sorts of jobs.
Yeah.
So, if you ever want to branch out, maybe try teaching or art therapy or even curatorial work, you have tons of information.
We've got it all right there.
It's all right there.
Right.
Okay, but let's get back to those interviews for a sec.
Okay.
One thing that can be a little scary is making your answers fit each job.
Yeah.
How do you make sure you're hitting the right points without sounding generic?
This is where RoleCatcher's AI is really great.
Yep.
It doesn't just give you sample answers. It actually reads the job posting and tells you how to highlight the skills and experience they want.
Okay.
It's like a personal stylist for your resume and cover letter.
I love that.
It makes sure it's well written and also totally focused on what the employer is looking for.
Okay.
Which gives you an advantage.
So it's not just showing your skills, it's showing the right skills in the right way.
Yeah.
And the AI can do even more, can't it?
It can. You can actually put your interview answers into RoleCatcher.
Wow.
And the AI will give you feedback.
Yeah.
It'll tell you how to make your answers stronger,
Okay.
more impactful, and more aligned with what the job needs.
So it's like having a virtual interview coach,
Yeah.
helping you get better and more confident.
Exactly. And speaking of presentation, RoleCatcher also has this awesome feature called video practice.
Yeah, the video practice.
You can record yourself answering questions, and the AI analyzes it.
Wow.
It gives you feedback on your body language, your tone, even your eye contact.
That's amazing.
It's a great way to see where you can improve and get more confident.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the big day.
Yeah.
But without being nervous, you can practice and get feedback privately.
Right.
Okay, so speaking of shining, let's go back to that advancement paths section.
Okay.
In the Sculptor Career Guide.
Yeah.
It talks about how important it is to show off your work.
Right.
Build connections.
Yeah.
And always be improving your skills.
Yeah. To grow in this field.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't just make amazing sculptures
Right.
in your studio.
Yeah.
You need people to see them
Yeah.
and to know the right people and to show that you're always learning and trying new things.
Exactly. Think about how you can work those things into your interview answers.
Okay.
Have you been in exhibitions or competitions? Won any awards?
Yeah.
Worked with other artists or taken workshops to learn new techniques?
It's like showing them you're a driven, ambitious artist.
Yeah.
Who's always pushing their limits.
Yeah.
And I bet RoleCatcher can help you, remember those experiences and talk about them in a way that employers will like.
Exactly. The AI can analyze your CV and portfolio and pick out those key things.
Okay.
And tell you how to highlight them in your interviews. It's like having a publicist for your success story.
It's amazing how much this platform does. We've talked about prepping for questions, understanding the industry,
Yeah.
using AI for feedback and career advice. It's really a complete resource for anyone who's serious about having a career in art.
It really is. And remember, just like with sculpting, a successful career is built step by step, layer by layer. So be patient, be persistent, and keep working on your craft.
I love that analogy. But before we wrap up this section, I want to go back to that question you asked earlier about technology and sculpture.
Right.
We talked about how RoleCatcher uses AI to help us find jobs. But AI is changing art itself too, isn't it?
Absolutely. 3D printing, digital modeling, even virtual reality are changing how some artists create.
Right.
It's something to think about as you go forward.
It makes you think about like what art even is.
Yeah.
Where does technology fit in? It's really interesting.
It is. And it might even come up in your interviews.
Okay.
Some employers might want someone who's good with tech and can use those digital tools. Others might want more traditional skills.
So knowing what they prefer and being able to talk about your own views on technology and art could really help you.
Exactly. And, trying these new tools might give you new ideas for your own work.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that learning never stops.
Right.
Even when you're getting ready for interviews, you should be open to new ideas.
Yeah. And new ways of creating.
So before we finish this deep dive into sculpting careers,
Okay.
let's think about everything we've learned. We've talked about a lot.
We have.
From getting ready for interviews to understanding the industry to using AI for advice. I feel like I have a much better idea of what it takes to be a successful sculptor these days.
That's great. And remember, the journey doesn't stop when you get the job.
No.
It's about always being creative, always trying new things and pushing your artistic vision. Embrace the challenges, enjoy the successes, and never forget the passion that got you started.
I love that.
Yeah.
To our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you what you need to be successful in the amazing world of sculpture. Remember your talent. Your vision and your hard work are what matters most.
That's right. So go out there, create, and never stop working towards your dreams.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep those creative fires burning.
Yeah, it feels like we've really covered it all, from the technical stuff to the business side of art. But I'm curious, what really makes a sculptor stand out to you?
Not just, in interviews, but in their whole career.
I think it's that mix of talent, vision, and just pure dedication. Mastering your craft is obviously super important.
Yeah.
But it's the sculptors who can take what's in their head and make it real, who are always pushing themselves. Those are the ones that really grab you.
So it's that drive that, always wanting to get better, that separates the good from the great.
Exactly. And you see that dedication in their portfolio, in how they explain their process, even in the questions they ask during an interview.
Okay.
It's that curiosity, that desire to learn, that's what sticks with you.
It reminds me of what we talked about before.
Yeah.
The continuous learning part of RoleCatcher's Guide.
Right.
It says that the art world's always changing. And if you want to stay ahead, you got to keep learning.
Absolutely. Whether it's trying new materials or techniques, or seeing how art and tech work together, successful sculptors are always looking for new challenges, new ways to expand their art.
And being willing to try new things to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That can really make a difference in an interview, too. It shows you're adaptable and open to new ideas.
Employers like to see that you're not afraid to experiment.
Right.
To take risks, to really push the limits of what's possible.
So it's not just about nailing the interview. It's about having that mindset,
Yeah.
of always wanting to learn.
Yeah.
That'll help you throughout your career.
Couldn't agree more. And that's where things like RoleCatcher can be so helpful. It's not just about getting the job. It's about giving yourself the knowledge, the tools, the connections you need to do well in the art world.
It's always changing.
Exactly.
This has been such a great look into sculpting careers.
It has.
We've gone from understanding the job to interview skills to using AI for advice. I feel like I really get what it takes to be a sculptor now.
That's fantastic. And remember, it doesn't end when you get the job.
No.
It's a lifelong thing, of being creative, being innovative, pushing your artistic vision. Embrace the tough stuff, celebrate the wins, and never forget why you started doing this in the first place.
That's beautiful. To all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you the tools and the inspiration to, create your own path in the world of sculpture. Remember, your talent, your vision, and your hard work are the most important things.
So go out there, make art, and never stop chasing your dreams.
Amazing advice. Until next time, keep those creative fires burning.